What is Mascu Media?
Masky Media has two services. Once you refine your strategy and understand what you do and who you do it for, then the production is a lot easier. If I got a video that got 1 billion views, but nobody remembered me and made no impact on my business, it doesn't matter. Everybody who starts social media wants followers. Me too. I'm sure you've felt the same, but it's less important now.
So what's the name Mascu?
That is where I was made redundant. That's where it came from.
So it's a battle scar.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
You have Mascu Media, let's say I or the listeners want to have something like this. Where to start?
That is a good question. Have you ever looked at a video? They shouldn't really be making videos. That person is like really bad on camera.
One of the reason I went on camera is because I'm like, oh my god, I can do better than this.
Okay.
So yeah, Arthur, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so Arthur, as I always do and find my podcast guests from LinkedIn, so I stalked your LinkedIn profile. You're based in UK. I guess you were born there and raised there.
Yeah, I was born and raised in Peterborough, which is in Cambridgeshire, 45-minute train from north of London.
Hmm.
And I've pretty much always lived here. But I work across the UK and maybe internationally soon. But I mainly work in London because it's not too far from where I live.
Hmm. Hopefully, nice. It shows me that your first profession started somewhere in 2021 as a video content creator for Twinkle Educational Publishing.
Yeah, well, no. I know we spoke about a tiny bit, but I gave a little bit of lore. But basically, I had a few different jobs, and none of them really worked out that well. And I didn't love any of them. But I started when I finished school, went to uni, and I studied sports science, not media, not film, nothing like that. And I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I enjoyed it. And then after I went into sports marketing, and I didn't love the job. I was too young. I didn't do a good job. And essentially, when probation came, I was let go, and I was sad. It was hard. So I kind of thought, what do I want to do instead? So I went from that into being a teacher. I was a primary school teaching assistant, and then trained as a teacher.
Hmm.
And I did that for about 3 years, and it's hard. It's hard work. If anybody is all teachers, particularly those in the UK, and I think it's the same for other countries as well. Teaching is hard, and I couldn't last super long
Hmm.
there and enjoy it. And when I eventually left teaching after 3 years, I went and worked for Twinkle and made educational videos. And I used to make some videos as a hobby before, but I made some videos for kids, and there were so many different topics like maths, history, lit, everything you teach in primary school. You do a bit of
Hmm.
everything, and I love that. And then from there, I did some content strategy, video strategy, and developed some different things like the thumbnails and the structure. And eventually left there and moved on to different video jobs.
MVF, and then with Ningi.
Yeah, I went to MVF. I wanted to work in London because I'm not too far from London, and Twinkle was working from home. I loved it. The people were great. The job was nice, but it was
This
also,
was COVID era, right?
yeah, it was. Yeah. So
So video was needed.
they were just experimented. Yeah, we used to teach the kids the lessons that the teachers couldn't sometimes
Hmm.
because everyone was at home.
Hmm.
And it was great for the start, but then as time went on, and it's still great. And some of the people that still work there now also edit with me part time. And I loved it there. But it was also time for me to go. I wanted to work in a place, and I wanted to go to London. So I applied for a few jobs, worked at MVF. MVF Global was amazing when I worked there, but I only worked there for 8 months. But that during that time, I met some of the most talented creatives that I've ever met, and there were people who were graphic designers, motion designers, videographers, editors, and strategists. Just loads of really, really talented people. It was like such a cool hub of people. And even now, a lot of the content that Masky makes, I would outsource to the people that I've met at MVF.
Hmm.
And I loved it there, but I was made redundant, and I which basically means they got rid of the job and therefore got rid of me. And they got rid of loads of people. I think like 150. I might be wrong.
Mm.
And yeah, so far I've had like a bad job, didn't make it past probation, made redundant, and then I worked for Ningi, and it was with a friend of mine who said they need some help with video. Could I help? And I said yes. And that's where I learned to make podcasts. That's where I learned about content strategy. I helped them do some fundraising via semi-personalized video content, which maybe we could talk about later. And it was really successful, but ultimately I was made redundant from there as well. And that was just a financial problem at the time. And I know they're doing a lot better now, but at the time it just wasn't right for me to stay. So I was made redundant twice in a year. And at that point, I'm losing jobs. I'm finding jobs I don't like. I'm losing jobs. It's not going well. My career's like, you feel like
Depressed.
when you're, so for me, yeah, I'm 31. I wouldn't say depressed, but like you, at 31, I feel like I should have my career now.
Mm.
Do you see what I mean?
Mm.
Um, and you keep getting made redundant. You're like, it's frustrating.
Mm.
You want to settle down and climb traditionally, but instead you're jumping from job to job. And I ended up thinking to myself, I have two choices: either I go and get another job, or I'm probably made redundant again, or I try and do my own thing. And that's why I decided. That's why I ultimately, initially decided to start my own business.
So that's the story behind Mascu Media.
That's how it started. Yeah, that's why I started. I mean, if I wasn't made redundant twice, I would still probably be in a job.
Mm. Nice, nice. So you started Mascu Media in April of 2024. So it's not been long, not even 2 years.
No, not long.
Nice, nice, nice. Okay,
Yeah,
what is Mascu Media? Like, what are the things
that's a
that you do
great
there?
question.
And of course, I have to ask you about semi-personalized content. So let's not forget that.
Cool. Yeah, let's do. We'll go back to that. We'll go back to that. Masky Media. I need to explain it succinctly. I think a good business should be able to be explained really succinctly, and
Hmm.
you should be able to tell people who it's for and offer the solution. And I think that's the same for content. So hopefully, I can nail this. Essentially, Masky Media has two services for similar people. We make and produce video content for personal brands or corporate brands, whether that's events or photography, video. We could do adverts and lots of different things, basically producing video content that lives on social media. And the other side of it is strategy. So I think what makes Mascu Media different, which might be a good or a bad thing, is we help people with their content strategy as well. So we help them understand how and why they should distribute it, the different forms of content, how you should speak on camera, how many posts you should make, what kind of posts you should make. So rather than just making pretty videos, you're making videos that solve a problem.
Hmm.
That's what I believe people should do, and that's what I believe is different about Mascu Media compared to another videography agency. We're like more end to end with a little bit more of a business brain behind the content we create.
Doing this strategy thingy, um, it's much more harder than just shooting videos for people.
I
I know
guess
it's
it,
more, yeah,
yeah,
it's more interesting, but it's hard to like going to a person and telling him that I'll develop your personal brand and make videos for you because these guys are not actors, and I don't know how
yeah,
good they are in once the camera goes live.
you're right. And I think that's what I like to help people with. But as much as I agree that probably the strategy side, refining that can be trickier than the production side. I think that if you don't have a strategy and you're hiring for production, then you're sometimes wasting your money. Not always, but if you're putting loads of money into high quality equipment and editing and teams, but you haven't solidified what your business is and therefore your social strategy, you're wasting your time and money.
Hmm.
So if you can get the foundations of this is what we're posting, why, this is who it's for, the purpose, then, once you have a really good understanding of that, then producing is easy. You don't even need to think about what you're producing so much because you know exactly what your business is, who it's for, what you should be producing. So it does take longer, but then ultimately, the short term and the long term benefits of understanding your strategy make the production easier. And maybe it's more complex, but I think that selling videography, I think I think videographers are going to have a hard time generally because people don't want videos. I don't think anybody, I don't believe people want videos. People want the benefits of videos, and I sell the benefits of videos.
How do you pitch it? Personal brand?
So it depends on what the person would want. So if they are looking for to be an authority figure,
Hmm.
means that people understand what they do and who they are and why they should be chosen over other people. And when you think of an industry, your name is synonymous with that industry. So, say if I worked in finance, when someone says financial advice, I think that's the person I think of. When I think of, I don't know, anything, gardening, I'm like, oh, gardening, I think of this guy.
Hmm.
That means you've got so much authority in that industry, in that niche, that you're synonymous. Your name means the same as the industry.
Productivity, Ali Abdal. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. So he's an authority figure in that niche.
Hmm.
And I think once you refine your strategy and understand what you do and who you do it for, then the production is a lot easier. And it's easier to sell because you could say, I'll make 20 videos for you.
Hmm.
Who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. You can make 100 videos. You could get a video that gets 1 million views. It doesn't matter.
Hmm.
If the people who are watching your video aren't ultimately going to see you again or buy from you or remember your name or your face or your brand, then if I got a video that got 1 billion views, but nobody remembered me and it made no impact on my business, doesn't matter. But if I got one view from one person that is going to remember me as the go-to person in this industry, in this niche, then that person can buy my service or recommend me to other people or engage in my podcast, and then it compounds.
Mm. There's a study online. It's called 1,000 True Followers. I don't know if you know about it.
I've heard about it,
Yeah, it's a concept which
but
says,
not so
yeah,
much.
it says that if you have 1,000 true followers, that's all what you need online. Imagine if you're selling a product which is worth 1,000 and there are 1,000 people buying from you, that's $1 million.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's
Yeah.
enough.
I like that.
Yeah. And if they keep buying from you or they just buy once, all of them, that's enough.
Yeah, 100%.
Mm.
And I think everybody, less so now, but everybody who starts social media wants followers. Me too. I'm sure you felt the same
Mm.
when you started. You're like, look at the
Still.
number, like, get me more followers. Yeah, everybody does. And it feels like followers equals success.
Mm.
And in some ways, there is a correlation, but ultimately, social media is there to solve another problem, which is for visibility or authority, whatever the word is, for your business.
Mhm.
And that's the ultimate goal. It's just that followers seems to be what people, it's so obvious. You can see the number, you're like, big number, big bucks, I'm feeling good. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's less important now.
Perfect. Okay, you have this concept. um, That's the way I found you on a video, which is don't look at the demographics. Like, don't look at the person you're aiming for somebody who's 35 or somebody who's 18 who's into banking, but look at the problem that you solve.
Yes.
So that's like your mantra. So can you explain that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard it being described to by a friend as a product mindset, but essentially I I believe that demographics and things like that are important to a degree
Mhm.
when they correlate with your business solution. So every single thing that you post, everything that you represent, everything that your service does in your business or your product does is a solution to a product. Every single thing. And there might be many different problems that you solve in a video. So as you watch a video, what makes you stop is you might say, I don't know how to do this. The solution is I'm going to teach you. Or the problem is I need a videographer, but I don't trust you. The solution is here's some evidence why you should trust me because other people have. Or it could just be the problem is I'm bored. So entertain me. And my solution is I'm going to make some entertaining content whilst reminding you who I am for when you do get another problem which relates to videography, and then you can hire me.
Mhm.
So I think every single part of your content and your business is ultimately just a problem, and you are a solution. And that comes down to your, like I said, like your business as well. If I feel like every single business, whether it's just one or many, a business is a solution to a problem, but that problem is so large that people would rather pay for it and have a solution than have the problem itself. And
Mhm.
when you drill down to just the problem solution, demographics are kind of secondary.
When I'm watching a video, I don't care about even my own age. I care about if this thing can solve the problem that I'm going through. Yeah, very true.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's hard to, I guess a lot of people think, oh, normally I sell to people within this age range in this country. And I think it's nice to keep in mind if your solution correlates with that, but ultimately you're just solving people's problems. Even
Mm,
your podcast, this episode is solving a particular problem. And there might be five. It might be that it's good to have me on for this reason, and it's good to make this podcast because of this reason. And people don't, I don't know, there could be 20 different problems that this episode solves for you. And there could also be, like, I could think of like 8 problems that it solves for me for being on this podcast.
mhm,
And I think once you start thinking about problem solution, then business and content gets a bit easier.
mhm. Nice. Okay, so let's solve the problem for the people who have it. Like, if somebody wants to have, that's the main goal of having you or having my guests. You have Mascu Media, let's say I or the listeners want to have something like this. Where to start?
That is a good question. So I want to preface this by saying I'm not a business expert.
T-
I just
Tell
do
me
the
about
content side.
Mascu. How did
But
you start that?
right, okay. I think there are 3 main parts. I like Ikigai is I think it's a Japanese philosophy for finding
Mm,
work that is fulfilling. And this is kind of an extension of Ikigai. But if you have a passion and a solution to a problem, and that problem is monetizable, and you can basically, people would rather pay for it than have the problem. That's it. A passion, a problem, and you can make money from it. They're the 3 things that you need to make a business. And you could think about each one of those independently. The money one often comes last, I think. But the first 2 is passion. What do you really enjoy? And some people might think, I just want a business. And therefore, you don't really have the passion yet, but
mm,
you have the passion for something.
mhm,
Other people like me might be like, oh, I really like making videos. So I'm going to make a business out of making videos. And it's obvious, therefore. Other people might not have the passion yet, but they can recognize a problem and they think, this problem annoys me and I'm struggling to find a solution that's good. Maybe there's no good experts who can solve my problem. Maybe there's not a product out there that solves my problem. Maybe I'm spending too long and I would be happy to get back some of my time if this problem was solved. Then you find a problem and then you think, how much would I value the solution to this problem? So if I had to put a financial, a number on it, would I rather have £20 or this problem? Would I rather have, would I rather have £100 or would I rather have the problem solved? And then at that line is kind of roughly where you pitch the idea. And that's basically where it comes from, I think. So that's what I started with. I started as just a videographer and I was not getting any business because I just had the passion to make videos.
mm.
And I had some friends who basically gave me some work and I was going great. But then I wasn't really solving a big problem. I was making videos, but videos are not the ultimate solution. They're part of the solution. So that's why I developed Masking. I did a rebrand. I did a soft relaunch where I focused not just on videography, but content production and strategy. And now I've got a solution that is a passion that people would rather pay than have the problem. And I think that's all that a good business is. It's just those 3 things.
So, I have friends who don't have a social media presence. I too am a videographer. I have a camera. And people listening might also say the same thing about themselves. Like, they have a camera, they can buy a camera. Now, what's the next step? What do I go and tell him, my friend? Um, get on video, or how does it go? How does it move forward? Do things for free?
What is their? Do they have a business then? They have like an idea.
Yes, they have a business. Let's say they have a running business. They were born with a silver spoon, so
Yeah. Okay. And you said they've got cameras. They got some equipment. Did you
I
say?
got a camera. Let's say.
Yeah. Okay. So I think you can just. There are different types of content that you could create,
Mhm.
and it doesn't necessarily need to be video. And there are different pros and cons to different types. So video is great if you just produce videos because they have great reach. And the benefit of video compared to other forms of media is you can hear my voice, you can see how I move, you can imagine I'm standing in front of you talking to you. And you don't get that like you do with a picture or text.
Mm.
So video is the best for like building that relationship. I mean, there's one higher than video is actually speaking to somebody face to face, kind of like you and I are,
Mhm.
or in person. That's like the best.
Mhm.
But the problem with speaking in person is with a video, I can make an awesome video and get it out to like 1 million people potentially, or even 1,000. Like if I wasn't trying and just put anything out, you could reach 1,000 people. Meeting people in person is not easy to meet 1,000 people.
Yeah.
You could maybe meet 10, you know? So video has great reach and it's the closest you can get to talking to somebody. So I would, if I had a business and I had some equipment, I would just talk about my solution, talk about who I help, talk about why I help them, talk about why you should book me, talk about why I'm better than other people, give examples, give behind the scenes, and show my face, make myself at the front of your mind. I'm constantly there. You don't need to make the best content. In fact, apart from maybe like me and other videographers, not making phenomenally it doesn't need to be phenomenal. It doesn't need to be phenomenal content because you're not a videographer.
Mm.
You're a business owner.
Mhm.
So you're just showcasing your business. And that's what we need to do. It doesn't need to be complicated, it doesn't need to be fancy. Just put stuff out there. And then as time goes on, then you learn this is how I make better videos. This is what people are engaging with. This is getting me likes and impressions, but this is getting me fewer impressions, but it's converting people.
Mhm.
And you just learn. You just post and you learn and you just do it. That's what I do, and that's what I would recommend, and that's what other successful people do as well.
So I'm jumping back and forth between what people should do and what you did. So your first client were your friends who paid you for, just for video stuff, and then you developed the content strategy for them, and that's how you kept on moving on.
Yes, I've done some for. I think the first I've got two main first clients. I think one was a parkour gym owned by my friend Kieran called Aspire Parkour Academy, and we just made some adverts.
Hmm.
And we spent a long time refining the scripts, the shot, the gestures, and we did one video. The video that I made for him cost 1,750 for a 35, 40-second video. It was filmed over a few days, and we filmed his talking head. We filmed other people's talking head. We had a testimonial in there. We had some B-roll. We had some examples of the coaches helping the children do their parkour. Took a long time, and I had one editor who edited it, didn't do a good job. So I decided to edit it, and it took so long,
Mm.
just for like 40 seconds. But that 40-second video for 1,750, he then spent an additional £1,500 on marketing initially. So we're on like £3,200 on a 30-second video. And that
Mhm.
video generated direct leads to the website who ultimately signed up, and it generated revenue of about a lifetime of about £60,000, which was like what's that? Is that 2,000% ROI?
Mm.
Maybe the maths is off. But basically, what I'm trying to say is um, that was my first ever client. And that was like an advert and really well thought out. And we still work together now. And the other one of my first clients was very different. We didn't make adverts, but his name is Stuart Michael. And my first ever videos with him were awful. They were so bad. It was embarrassing. They were genuinely, my editor, Rose, and I made them, and they were just embarrassing. And I wish we had them
What was
because
the business about? What were the videos?
it was like a conversational. We were just having a chat,
Hmm.
and it was getting to know Stuart basically,
Hmm.
and getting people familiar with him because he sells shows, and he wants people to have that relationship with him. So we made some videos, and they were simple videos, but we just messed it up. The framing was wrong, the captions were wrong, the color was wrong, the pace was wrong, the edit was wrong, the position was wrong, the shutter speed was wrong. It looked so bad. It was awful. And but we love Stuart. I love Stuart, and he continues to work with me, and we learn together basically. And now his social media went from, at the time, about 1,200 followers on 3 or 4 different platforms to now 130,000 followers
Oh.
on 3 or 4 platforms.
Nice.
I say followers, and I know we were talking about earlier, like, oh, followers, they don't matter. He got followers, but also, sorry, his show tickets went significantly up. He sold so many more tickets, and people, you'd say to him, hey, where did you hear? And they would say, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. That's the solution. The problem he had is I needed more ticket sales, and I needed people to like get to know me
Mm.
and see what it's like at the shows. And videos were the medium. Videos were the solution. And we still work together now. And Stuart's, yeah, I love Stuart.
So it's
Fixed
okay
it.
to start even if you're not, 100% ready and you're gonna make mistakes, like you did in this one.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I've made many mistakes. I've had gigs where I've had to say to a client, Henry from Fruitful, lovely guy. I did some filming with him, and basically I messed up the shutter speed. So when you have the wrong shutter speed, the lights are flashing in the background,
Yes.
and it was. I tried for the videographers out there. I tried masking around it, and it was fine. But the problem is he would sway into the camera. So then we had to mask him and then mask the background. And then it just kept going wrong, and it was taking so long. And I just said, like, I'm really sorry. Basically, I f***ed it up. Have it for free.
Hmm.
And as a consequence, we ended up working together again. I was like, let me prove to you that I can do it. And we still work together, and videos get better and better.
Mm.
So, like me, everybody else, I'm sure you've done it too, where you've made videos or podcasts which have been like, I wish it was
Yeah.
different. I wish it was better. But you just gotta start. Everyone starts somewhere. It's just you don't hear when people are doing a bad job. You just hear when they're doing a good job.
Mhm.
But everybody does a bad job when they start, and even the most successful people are still failing, like me.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's learning. Everybody's learning.
I remember there was this quote. The difference between a big shot and a small shot is that a big shot is a small shot that never stopped shooting. So you
Yeah,
just need to keep
yeah,
on
that's it.
shooting.
Never quit.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah,
There's one thing that something comes to my mind is scripting.
yeah,
Like the gym owner or the guy who sells his shows. The guy who sells his shows might be able to script for himself, but the the gym owner or somebody who owns, like a brick and mortar, like a glass frames shop or whatever, they won't be able to script for themselves. I don't think so. So
yeah.
who scripts?
That's a great question. When I work with, so my friend Stuart Michael doesn't script anything, so it feels a bit different. He does his own thing and we capture. But generally, when I work with clients, you, I imagine you're the client, you'd have the industry knowledge. So you know your industry.
Mhm,
Maybe it be finance or
mhm,
vehicles or anything. You have the knowledge. Then I would help you. I'd say, you need to make a video that solves a problem that correlates with your business. And then you say, give an example like, oh, you could talk about this, you could talk about this, you could talk about this. And then you go away and try and make a few notes, a few scripts that relate to your business. Maybe there's some frequently asked questions. That's the best place to start.
mhm.
Then I give you some time, and then we meet again. And then I brutally, depends how thick skinned you are,
Mm.
I'll just tear it down. I'll say, this is great, but this hook is bad. This is bad. This needs changing here.
Nice.
And then we're like, this is before, this is after. And then they get this transformation, and they can hear it, they can see it. And I've never had a session where I've coached people's scripting and they've not seen an improvement. And then I give them that, and then they go away and they do it the rest themselves,
Mhm.
because they now have the tools. And I'm still there to help people. Like when I do my content growth plan, I help people over a few months and we stay in contact. I can help continue that. But ultimately, I try and help. We go back and forth,
Mm.
and that's just how you write good scripts. So one of the script I did for Aspire Parkour Academy with Kieran, I really tried to refine the hook, the first moment, because I wanted to grab people in. So we started with some parkour tricks. I think they did a flip, they did two flips, and then the script, if I can remember it from like a year ago, is your kids are going to love our parkour classes here in Peterborough, and here's why. In that one sentence, you saw the coach do a flip, gives him authority, he knows what he's doing. You saw the child do a flip with the coach's help, so it gives the coach authority,
Mhm.
and then you also see the child is having fun. And then he says, your kids. So in the first moment, you know this video is for you, you know who it's for, your kids. You also know that it's directed at parents without saying, I'm looking for parents, are going to love. Love is an emotive feeling. Your kids are going to love our parkour classes. Our refers to a collective. So you're not just a single person, we're a business. So it subtly implies that we're an established business. Parkour classes explaining exactly what it is. Here in Peterborough, explaining the location. And here's why. And then you justify it. You give testimonials and evidence. All while the color aesthetic matched the brand and the gestures were subtly crafted to be welcoming gestures. He showed open palms, which is a sign of trust, and leaned slightly towards the camera. He was sat down in the background, people doing parkour, and he was the owner. I know I said a lot there, but that's how much when we're like really trying to craft a perfect hook and a perfect video in just the words that I could remember. And there's probably more as well, but that's how important I believe having a good script is. And that's how there's a lot goes into it, I think.
I know I'm asking too much, but how would you make this non-actor be on video? Because I remember the first time I was on camera, or you know, for the purpose of putting it on social media, not just for fun. I posted so many things, live videos on Facebook and everything. But once you do it like a talking head style, it's hard for people who are non-actors. Like for example, whenever I go to like cinematography classes or whatever, which I took, there are always professional actors, or amateur actors, whatever, but they're actors. But when you go to business
Yeah.
owners, they're not actors. So how do you take them from not looking good to looking something reasonable?
That's a great question. I'm going to ask you a question. Have you've watched a load of LinkedIn content,
Mhm,
I'm sure,
mhm.
and loads of videos. Have you ever looked at a video, and if so, how many would you say, and thought that person doesn't know how to speak on camera? They shouldn't really be making videos. That person is like really bad on camera.
One of the reason I went on camera is because I'm like, oh my god, I can do better than this. And yeah, that's the reason.
Okay. Okay. That was counter to what I was thinking. But that's fine. But basically, I don't believe that most people, when they look at your content, are thinking they're not judging you for that.
Oh.
They're not really judging you for that. I think maybe differently for you because you are looking to produce content yourself
Mm.
and you're trying to compare and be like, I want to make a podcast. They're making a podcast. I could do that better.
Mhm.
And I think I've done that as well.
Mm.
So I think ours is slightly different because we are in the same industry.
Mm.
But generally, when you're sat scrolling on Instagram or sat on TikTok or whatever you're watching, or if you see a video on LinkedIn, very, very, very rarely do you think that person can't speak on camera.
Mm.
But often you think that person's great or you don't think about it.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say this is ultimately the person that is judging you the most is yourself. And nobody's more aware of your tics. Nobody's more aware of your gestures and the rhythm of your words. Nobody's more aware of it than you are. So as soon as you stop caring, it's fine. That's it. Just care a little bit less. And the biggest difference between people who are good at speaking on camera and people who aren't is confidence. That's the biggest thing. Because when you're confident, you come across as passionate. And when you're passionate, you come across as knowledgeable.
Mm.
And when you're knowledgeable, you'll be succinct, and all of these things kind of compound. And the best advice is to just not care so much.
Yeah.
And the reason, how do you not care, is posting more and more and more and more and more and more. And over time, you'll get better and you'll worry less. That's the main piece of advice, really. You're going to be bad. You're going to be bad. Your first videos were probably awful. Mine were awful. And everybody's first, whatever, is bad. In fact, it's slightly worse worse for me, because I remember telling people, this is how you should make videos. This is what a good video is. And my videos weren't even good. And I was telling people, so it's ironic. Whereas unless you're being a videographer, you really don't need to worry about how well you come across and how good quality videos are. You just need to swallow your pride and just do it.
Mm.
That's the main thing, I think.
True. Actually, you have a point. Like, I remember attending these speaking workshops, and when you record people and show them how they spoke, they're like, "Oh, I don't actually look that bad as I thought I did." So
Yeah,
yeah,
100%.
you got a point. And
And I think there are some techniques as well. I mean, a lot of it's mental,
Mhm.
but also there are some different things. And I'll try and share some, but also I'm not an expert in this, a communication expert. It's like I have a little bit of everything, but the guy I would definitely recommend, his name is Vin. Wow, what's his name? Vin.
Oh, the
Vihn. Vin Gang. I think it's
the
Vin Gang.
Asian looking glasses. Oh yeah.
He's got the white hair. Vin Gang. He's really cool.
Mm,
I'm a big fan of Vin Gang for communication advice. And his extends beyond just talking on camera. So if you want to approach a group of people and you want to say hello to them, but you are not sure if you have an out and you don't want to be stuck in this conversation, you walk up to a group with a glass of water about this full, start talking. Hey, I heard you guys were talking about this. I do this. I was really interested what you thought about this. If the conversation goes back and forth, bam, you're in. If the conversation dies and you see that you're not welcome, you might listen for a moment, finish your glass, and say, "Good to meet you guys. I'm going to go and grab a drink." Off you go to the next group. There
nice.
you go. That's how communication and Vin Gang teaches stuff like that. And when you're doing a speech, you can walk with purpose, show open palms, not the back of your hands, and you can smile, use your eyebrows, and speak from your diaphragm, not your head voice, and speak clearly, enunciate, speak slowly, pause instead of filler words, and all these like little things that you can learn by practice and watching other people. You get slowly better.
Mm.
But at the core of it, I think, is just confidence in yourself.
Okay. A bit more about the business. You started alone. You didn't have any employees, but you were outsourcing some things like editing and stuff.
I say outsource. I feel like there's a difference between just outsourcing, just passing it like, I don't want to do it. But it is what it is. You're right. It's the right word. And also employing.
Hmm.
And I'm kind of like, think I'm in the middle. So I outsource, but often on a recurring basis. So I have an editor that works 2 or 3 days a week, every single week,
Hmm.
and I have like a Google account, and we pay every month, and it's kind of like outsourcing, but regular outsourcing. And I have different editors as well, and a couple of motion designers who I would solely rely on because they're fantastic. And then I have 3 or 4 video editors who I solely rely on because they're fantastic.
Hmm.
And then I have a photographer, Gemma, who joins me as a second shooter. So for me, I enjoy outsourcing and working with other people because there are people who are more skilled than me. I have editors who are definitely better editors than me, and Gemma's definitely a better photographer than me. And in the future, I'll be hiring videographers who are better videographers than me. And my strength is more of a generalist. I can do everything well,
Hmm.
but I like to hire specialists who outclass me in those particular niches, which I'm starting to do. And the reason why I do that as well is it allows me to do more things.
Hmm.
So while I'm filming with one person, 4 other people can be editing. So I don't need to refuse the work, and I can then do the stuff that I enjoy.
Hmm.
And I enjoy filming and I enjoy talking to people. So I can focus on that and then outsource the stuff that I'm not so good at to not only make it more enjoyable for me, but also give the client a better end product because I'm focusing on what I'm good at. And then the bits that I'm not, I have help.
Mm. Nice.
Yeah.
And how many clients do you get per month?
Not as many as I think people like to shout about on social media. I think it depends. I might get like 6 leads a month, maybe more, and then convert maybe half of them.
Hmm.
It depends. A lot of them are recurring. So I have a lot that just continue to do the same shows that I keep filming, keep creating content. It really varies. And some of them are quite big jobs and others are quite small. But for the most part, I'm able to produce enough work that just about almost sustains me, but also helps sustain 3 or 4 other editors part time. I have not earned a lot of money myself, but that's because I've been over investing back into my business.
Hmm.
But that's a consequence of owning a business. You know, you have to take a hit for the first 2 or 3 years before you start seeing the benefits. But yeah, it's not like I've got 50 clients every single month coming in. I'm I don't get that much volume, but also I like to make sure that the clients are like well serviced. I don't have that scale yet to be able to properly service that many people.
Hmm.
I'm at a good point and I'm really loving it. I'm loving it. So I feel very lucky to work with as many people that I do. And I'm very like so proud of the videos that we put out there as well. I need to share more of it as well. That's my fault. But yeah, I'm loving it.
Yeah, nice. What about outsourcing sales at some point of time?
Yeah, I would love to do that. My sales are so bad. I'm so bad at sales. I'm so bad. I I would like some. See, I could get sales training, but I am seriously considering outsourcing sales as well. That's like my next thing. I would like someone to help me with some operations and also like to outsource some of the sales. They're the two things that I'd need to incorporate into the business next.
I remember there was this quote by Leila Hermosi. She said, "Hiring will always be more than hard work. Hiring always beats hard work because she
Yes,
and her
yeah,
husband built
100%.
them on hiring the best talent and everything."
Yeah, I have some incredible editors, and they've helped me so much that if I didn't have them, I don't think, rather, I know that Masky wouldn't nearly be as big as it is and as successful as it is without the help of the people that work with me. That goes for my clients, but also the editors. It's been transformational. Seems a bit cheesy to say that though, but you're right. You're absolutely right.
Did we speak about semi-personalized content?
Let's do it. Okay, this is my. I don't know how. This is I guess, a niche solution that we found.
Hmm.
I don't know if I should.
Tell
Okay,
me, tell me.
so we did this once.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say. We'll say. And basically, what makes video good is if I feel like it's for me personally. So that's why when you're watching video, if I have a really, really specific problem, then a
Mhm,
specific video makes me feel like I'm understood and I feel connection to the person who's teaching me, helping me.
mhm,
And you can niche down really far, but the most specific you can get is a personalized video from one person to another. A voice note. Hello, Johnny. This voice note is for you. This is one to one. This is just for you. And that feels more personal. You're more likely to engage with that than any other video or voice note that's just general. And I found this was really successful and it helped a company raise £250,000 in 2 days in fundraising as a consequence of recording a generic ish video explaining why people should invest in the company, the benefits for them, the journey the company's been on. So, in between two slices of, I guess, personalized bread. And at the beginning of the video, you say, "Hey, Michael, good to see you last month. I'm looking forward to seeing you at this event in the future, etc., etc." All about Michael. I'm just going to tell you about my company real quick, and this is what I want from you. If you're interested, great. If not, no problem. Generic video.
mhm,
Then you can record that generic video and then record 50 intros in an hour. Fire out, bam, bam, personalized. Hey, Johnny. Hey, Sam. Hey, Michael. Hey, Michelle. And you've got all these videos. You just put the personalized intro on that video, and then you've got 50 5-minute personalized videos for clients. Send them out, and everybody thinks you've just done a full production for them. And
mm,
they're so much more likely to be involved and engage and talk to you like, wow, I like this company has just made me this incredible personalized video. They must really care. Um, okay, it's true, but it's also an illusion.
mm,
Do you know what I mean? It's a bit of both. And I found a lot of success with that as well in two companies.
That's a very good. Yeah, if your name is said, even if that person is not addressing to you, you feel some kind of connection to that video. But if your name is said and it's referring to you specifically, you will have to respond.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you do it effectively. And this is not something you do on social media, of course. This is when you're trying to, I guess, maybe fundraise or get people to come to your event.
Hmm.
At that point, then you give a personalized message. And if the personalized message, you don't get enough time to give as many out as you want, then you can do a personalized with this generic and it will feel wholly personalized.
Mm, mm. And when people see, like, there's an effort in it, like the lights and all this practical lighting, plants at the back and everything, uh, the law of reciprocity, you will have to respond. Like, you can't say no. I mean,
Yeah.
somebody put so much effort.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that also translates to when you're making content and also giving free value.
Mhm.
And whether that's through a sales funnel or just content, you have this subconscious indebtedness where I've given you all this value, 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 value. And I'm like, go and complete my scorecard on my profile. And they click on the scorecard on my profile and they go through it. It's like, this is personalized, actionable. I feel this is phenomenal. And I've not given this person anything.
Mhm.
And subconsciously they think I owe kind of owe Arthur something because like he's giving me so much value. And the consequence of that is either like they book or they keep me in mind or they recommend me, or at the very least they just have a good image of me as somebody who just gives out loads of value. Now the negative of that is it takes so much time, you have to give out a lot of value, and it's a long-term plan.
Mm.
But that subconscious indebtedness, I think, ultimately helps your personal brand to grow.
Mm. True, true. So I want to have something like a media production company. Where should I start from? Like, for example, taking pictures of people, of my friends, posting, taking care of their Instagram, taking care of their TikTok. Should I take that headache? Like, for example, taking care of their social media platforms, because that's a lot. Taking care of
Mm.
all those passwords, taking care of the whole 9 yards. Um,
I like this. I like, okay, if you don't mind, let's do this as a problem solution.
mhm,
So this can be hypothetical or could be in reality, but you said, should I post for the client?
mhm.
And therefore, like, what is the problem that the client has in that situation?
People in this part of the world, they're not good with social media. So if I take care of their social media, like all of those platforms, I'm taking stress off of their shoulders, and perhaps sit with them, have a small chat, and record their answers on a few questions, just like a podcast. But the camera is only facing on them, and then posting those short clips on those social media platforms, creating long form videos. How about that?
That makes sense. You bundled, which is fine. You bundled the solution and the problem.
Hmm.
Just if you can, what you just said there, articulate literally just the problem that the person has.
Hmm.
You said it there, but you also said what you're going to do about it.
Take.
So maybe they don't understand. They don't understand.
Mhm.
You're taking the responsibility off their shoulders.
Mhm.
Um, what else would you say? Would problems that they have? Would you say?
They don't know how to light a setup. They don't know how to what's a good mic. They don't know difference but between mics, which I know. They don't know the lighting. They
Mhm.
don't know. They don't know anything about talking head setups. They don't know what talking head means.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, there. All those problems, as long as they correlate with your business, they're all content types that you could post about.
Mhm.
And then the actual business itself, you could maybe group some of them together.
Mhm.
So for me, I had similar, like, I could say people didn't know what to post, they didn't know how to produce videos, they didn't know about lighting, they didn't know about editing,
Mhm.
they didn't have the time, and they also didn't want to post it themselves. And I'm like, as for all these problems, which problem do I want to solve? And early on, I realized the problem of you didn't want to post videos. I don't feel as though my solution or passion is good enough for me to offer the service of posting on your behalf.
Mhm.
So I don't do that. But I do feel like my passion and my solution for producing videos and helping people with their content strategy, that's what I want to focus on.
Mhm.
So therefore, I'm like, these are the two things that like I'm passionate about and you need a solution for and I can monetize. That's what I'm going to focus on. And then all the problems around that, like the sub problems. So for example, if we take the strategy, I don't know what platforms I should post on. I don't know how often I should post. I don't know what kind of content I should be making. I don't know if I should have a sales funnel. I don't know how the sales process goes beyond the sales funnel.
Mhm.
I don't know if I should be speaking on camera. I don't know how to speak on camera. All of those are like sub problems of my strategy. And you can do the same for yours. So if you identify, like, if I had a media company, these are the problems that I solve. These are the problems that I can monetize and people want a solution for.
Mhm.
These are the problems that are associated with it. Once you've done that, you can then build a brand around it and then create a product or a service. And then your content machine is simple.
Mm. And even you said a good thing, like you don't enjoy taking care of their social media platforms. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I just want to mention
yeah.
as well. You said about n- highlighting what you don't want to do.
Mm.
I worked with a lovely guy, and he's a personal trainer. And I said to him, "Why would anybody want to work with you and not somebody else?" And he didn't know. And when I met with him a month later, he did know. And part of the way that you can differentiate who you do and you don't want to work with is actually identifying the work that you don't want to do and the people that you don't want.
Mm.
Because by pushing those people out, you can then highlight the people that you do, and it's clearer. So for me, I'm like, I'm never going to make a film. I don't make films. I'm not skilled enough to make a film. My strength is in strategy and communication skills. So for me to jump into films seems too separate. So I don't make films.
Mm.
I also don't post for people. I don't do that really. And then when I start to exclude things that I don't do, I can focus on what I can do, and then it helps my problem solution seem clearer.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have one.
Because of what you
Yeah.
also want, you just want other people to be able to say to you, I would love, my ideal is to say, what do I do and who do I do it for? And you should immediately have everybody say, this is what you do, this is what you stand for. And if they don't, then I think your problem solution and your brand and how you represent yourself just needs a bit more strategy. Yeah.
Mhm. I dabbled around with your scorecard.
Yeah. Okay. I love this.
How did you create it? And what software? And I know there's experience that speaks in that scorecard, and I would highly recommend people visiting your LinkedIn profile and um, trying that scorecard out. What software did you use?
Thank you. Thank you, Suleiman. I'll briefly explain it. I guess I'm going to say what the scorecard is, and I'll answer honestly why I have one.
Hmm.
It's sales funnel, and then I'll go into how you can have one and where I get it.
Yeah,
So
do it.
the scorecard is a free 3-minute scorecard that anybody can take who is looking to improve their content strategy, who have any questions. There are 3 pillars really that we focus on. It's consistency, production, and strategy. So, what are you doing? What are you not doing with your consistency
Mhm.
that I can give you personalized and actionable advice that you can take away and make an impact on your social media? Same again for production. What are you missing with your production and how can you make it better? Same again for strategy. And the questions correlate with the answers. So I've pre generated 4 different tiered answers for each of the different columns that relate to the answers. It took me a lot of writing, but there are also 2 summary sections that are AI generated using my prompts
Mhm.
and your answers to give you a personalized feedback that you can action. And all of this stuff you can literally just take away, never talk to me, and it's free, no newsletter, and it will help you.
Mm.
For me, I do that because when people are consuming my content and then they are curious, they might do the scorecard, get some advice, and then think they want to go to the next level. And they're like, okay, I see the value of production. I see the value of strategy. I'm going to book a 15-minute call. And then for me, I've given them some free value, subconscious indebtedness,
Mm.
and I've moved them from consumer to being an active participant. And then I have some personalized insights for that client. So when I speak to them, if I were to sell to them, it's easier.
Mhm.
So that's what it is and how it helps me. And then the final one is how do you get it? I'm a big fan of Daniel Priestley and it's his Score app. It's called Score app. And I would highly recommend checking out Daniel Priestley,
Mhm.
who is very knowledgeable about sales funnels and the difference between we didn't really get onto it, but short form and long form content and the benefits of each, things like that. Daniel Priestley is really, really knowledgeable about lots of different things around business, finance, sales. So I check out him, and it's his app called Score app. You pay a monthly subscription. It takes so long to make a good scorecard. I think
Mhm.
he said it takes 5 minutes. It's not wrong, but like it for me, it takes days to perfect it.
Mm.
And yeah, if you're looking to make a sales funnel, I'd recommend checking out Daniel Priestley.
Mm. There's one question I ask all my guests. It's same with everyone. What is that one mistake that you could have avoided in your life, whether career or non-career? It's up to you. However you like to answer this.
That's a good question, a deep question. I'm sure you have a similar answer for other people, but I have zero regrets. I am a little bit naive, but I believe in determinism, and I believe that there's kind of like one path, essentially, without getting too deep into philosophy.
Mhm.
I've had lost my jobs. I've been made redundant many times. I've done a bad job in my business at the start, and I've made mistakes, but ultimately they've got to me where I am, and I'm happy. And there's nothing that I would change about any part of my journey in my life or my business up to this very moment here. And I believe in determinism. Every single part of my life ultimately led me to having this conversation with you, Suleiman.
Mhm.
And this is where we are. And I think if anything changed, we wouldn't have this. And I have absolutely no regrets. And my favorite, I guess, my favorite phrase, which kind of relates to this, and I know my friend Johnny Rose also resonates with this, is memento mori, which basically means remember you will die. Sounds morbid, but remember you will die is for me like a really positive message that kind of means like there's no point regretting. Just live, do your best, make the most of every day, be scared and do it anyway. That kind of vibe. There's no use regretting, just learning. Sounds very deep, but anyway, that's very deep.
Not even the primary school teacher part.
No,
Uh,
not part. I hated that. I hated it. Okay, maybe like almost, but nah, not even that bit. Not even that
yeah, that's good.
bit.
That's good. That's nice. Perfect, Arthur. This was amazing.
Thank you, Suleiman. I've had a great time, and I'm very grateful that you offered to have me as your guest.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
I know we cut and we're kind of like cut informal cut, but I am genuinely very happy, and thank you so
You're
much.
welcome, man.
I'm gonna
You're
say it
welcome.
again.
And personally, me too. Very, very happy, and I got so much material out of you. I'm not cutting this part, by the way.
Uh, Okay,
Go ahead.
you
Go
can
ahead.
keep
Say
this
it.
in
Say
then.
it.
Keep this in.
Yeah,
Keep
yeah.
this in. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy. It's very different being a podcast host to a guest, and I have my own podcast coming out in February in person
Mm-hmm.
and recording it in Maskew Avenue. And I know it's a very different skill being interviewed and being an interviewer, but I thought you did a great job, and I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
So, what's the name Maskew?
That is where I was made redundant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's it. That's where it came from. Maskew. I worked at a company, and the company was based in Maskew Avenue.
Mm.
And then when I was made redundant, I had some different ideas, and the street name Maskew was available as a company name. Maskew.co.uk was available. Maskew.media. So I named my company Maskew Limited. And then when I started my podcast, there's a studio that opened up in Maskew Avenue. It was just perfect.
So it's a battle scar.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is. It is.
Yeah. Nice.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right, I am actually going to hang up now instead of carrying on thanking you. But
Love it.
have a great day, my
Thanks,
friend.
man. Thanks, man.
Thank
See
you,
you. Bye
Suleiman.
bye.